that clock. I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright guys, one of the most requested video topics that I've gotten over the past couple of days is me going over the staff behind episode 204. If you guys aren't necessarily familiar, which I'm pretty sure probably like 99% of you guys know what the situation is. Episode 204 is going to be arguably one of the biggest episodes since I believe episode 65 of the Boruto anime, just because of course it's going to be super hyped up with Naruto and Sasuke going all out versus the character or the leader of the Kado organization, Jigen. So essentially people want to make sure this episode looks good. Now before I get into the staff, one thing that I do want to point out, which is going to be very important, we already kind of know how this episode is going to look. Like, we've seen this in a preview already, bro. This episode already looked absolutely insane. I mean, I'm just and I kind of already went through this, but I'm just kind of show you guys again. Like, we already know. Like peep this. Like, look at Karma's hand. Oh my goodness, bro. And then peep the suit. Well, we don't care about the 9 times. Peep the Susanoo. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get into the actual staff, dog. All right, so the staff right here, we get this from, by the way, shout out to Anime Blue 00 on Twitter. Anime Blue pretty much gives us the staff behind all of the episodes. Anime Blue pretty much has an extremely long thread, so if you guys do want to keep up, Anime Blue essentially been doing this for, I'd say, like damn near 100 episodes now, and now we're pretty much up to, I think, episode 206, but specifically 204 is what we are here for. Now the director / storyboard is going to be written by Takiro Ogiwara. Again, I don't necessarily know how to pronounce a lot of Japanese names, so you guys are gonna have to stick with me a bit. All right, so Anime Blue also tweeted out something else in regards to actual quality, because that's essentially what the director / storyboard is. Essentially, when it comes to the actual quality, we should be expecting Boruto episode 39 levels. So if you guys don't necessarily remember, Boruto episode 39 was essentially when I believe Mitsuki went into Sage mode and Orochimaru fought against Log. So this right here, I want to point this out, give you guys a backstory about this. This episode came out of nowhere. No one really knew like what to expect right here, because this right here in itself was like a flashback. We didn't know we were gonna get this. So when this came out, it was like a complete surprise. It was pretty, the animation was very good, and just by this episode catching us by surprise, we were that more appreciative of this episode. I mean, this right here wasn't even the best part of the episode, to be honest. Mitsuki turning into Sage Mitsuki was pretty much the best part of the episode. This right here looked crazy, like when Mitsuki actually did go Sage mode. So in regards to quality of this episode, just from the actual director, I mean, I expect nothing less. I expect nothing less than this. I expect it to be absolutely insane. One of the biggest things that I do have to point out is that the studio that's creating this episode 204, is going to be Studio Period. If you guys aren't necessarily keeping up, or if you guys don't necessarily keep up with the studios and which studio produces which episode, Studio Period produces pretty much all of the big episodes. So it's essentially Boruto episode 65 was produced by Studio Period, and I'm pretty sure we all know this episode, and what this episode was essentially Naruto versus Sasuke. I said Naruto versus Sasuke. I did that mistake already. I said Naruto versus Jigen and Sasuke, but essentially Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki. And not only that, they also did episode 189, obviously, like pretty much regular elite stuff. My goodness, this man, oh my good, I just had to see that again. And also episode 135, oh, I'm bugging, I typed it in completely wrong, but episode 135, I think this is the Urashiki's final form. Yeah, they also did this as well. If you guys don't necessarily remember this, some people were actually mad about Urashiki, the overall character, but in regards to how this episode looked amazing. Like, plus Jiraiya was there. This episode was just flat out amazing, dog. I ain't gonna lie. So in regards to the studio behind this episode, damn it, the best we could ask for, essentially. Of course, some people might argue, but I think Studio Period is definitely the best out there. They're pretty much behind all the big, huge episodes, big pause. But also, let's get into other stuff about this episode. Now we have the animation director, Ichiro Uno. We talked about Ichiro Uno already. Ichiro is behind some of the biggest episodes, obviously episode 189, the one that we just went over, essentially Kawaki versus Garou. Obviously this right here looked absolutely amazing. Ichiro did multiple other things as well. Wow, I got clickbaited again, bro. Yo, I did that in the last video that I talked about. But yeah, this right here, essentially amazing. So Ichiro being on this episode, I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna absolutely love. Ichiro did multiple other ones as well. I just can't necessarily name them off the top of my head, but we went over that in the last episode. We went over that person in the last episode, or the last video like this I did make about Delta versus Naruto. So obviously they're pretty much being put on a lot of the big episodes. And also we have Yuri Ichino's. Now Yuri Ichino's, this person did actually do recently, I think episode 196, I believe. In episode 196, I believe that was Naruto versus Kawaki. This right here, I didn't necessarily remember it being like insane, but obviously it was good. Like, it was Naruto versus Boruto. But in regards to like comparing it to some of the biggest episodes, obviously it wasn't necessarily up there. But then again, you have to understand, like, when we talk about Naruto versus Boruto, you can't necessarily make it the best animated. I mean, the hits look like they hit hard, you know, like the backlash, of course the moves look fluid. Of course I can't necessarily say too much in regards to complaining, but obviously this person is definitely deserving of being on this episode. I think it's definitely a very good idea of having this person on it. Now the person behind the screenplay, essentially the person behind the script, is going to be Masahiro Okubo. Alright, so Masahiro Okubo, I think one of the best ones that he did was episode 171, and this right here wasn't even like anything too crazy. I think this right here was like a very underrated episode that a lot of people don't necessarily remember. But in regards to like when we rewatch the Boruto anime potentially like years later, we're probably gonna come upon this episode and think it was definitely one of the best episodes. Like, this episode had damn near everything. All right, so at the beginning it was Boruto versus the leader of the Mujina bandits. I think I forgot his name, but you guys remember, like, this right here looked absolutely amazing. I absolutely loved this edition as well. And of course Sakura versus Sada as well. Sada versus Sakura in regards to actual animation was absolutely elite. I'm pretty sure everybody loved this right here, especially a lot of the Sakura and Sada fans out there. They absolutely loved it. They went crazy for an episode like this. This was essentially right around the time where, or right before, Sada did actually unlock her second tomo. So pretty much everybody loved something like this. And also on top of that, we also got to see with Orochimaru and Mitsuki and Log as well. And of course that right there was absolutely amazing. So the script behind this episode right here, I loved it. I loved it. So having him on episode 204, I think is very good as well. I mean, so the animation I think is going to be on point because we've already seen the animation. Of course, the staff behind it is going to be on point. Some of the key animators though aren't necessarily listed in that tweet from Anime Blue. Anime Blue actually said that they come out like the day of the episode. So when the episode actually does come out, we are going to get the names of the key animators. But again, I already pointed out, like, the animation in Boruto episode 204 already looks good. Like, we've seen it already. Like, we know exactly what's going to happen. I think one of the biggest things personally is going to be how it flows. Like, what's the choreography going to look like? So for example, back when we seen Kawaki versus Garou, we knew what it looked like. I mean, we already knew what was going to happen in the Boruto manga. We didn't know it was going to be that good. Like, the choreography and stuff like that was completely different. The Boruto anime in that battle added damn near like a whole nother segment, a whole nother fight to that fight. Like, it was absolutely insane. But regardless, I think obviously this one's going to look good. I hope the choreography is going to be good as well. And to be honest, when I ran through this one in my previous video and I talked about exactly what's going to happen, I went line by line of exactly all the action that did happen in the episode between Jigen, Naruto, and Sasuke. Damn near everything looked good. Like, if they bring that fight to the anime in a 1-to-1 comparison, I think it's going to be absolutely insane. But I personally believe the staff that they have behind that episode, they're probably going to add some stuff to it, and it's probably going to look even better. But let me know what you guys think about this episode as well, and give me what you guys think. Do you guys think this episode 204 is going to live up to the hype? I personally think 100% this episode, if not number one, it needs to be number 2 behind episode 65, the episode where Naruto and Sasuke fought against Momoshiki. If it is not that, if it's not anything like that, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. To me, it would be a disappointment. That's just me. But let me know what you guys think. It's been your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.